Yo, it's your boy Logos. And today I want to react to this Joe Rogan clip because I feel pretty close to what I think he's going to talk about in this title, which is the problem with diversity in the United States. I think the issue is that people just care about quotas and checking off boxes for diversity. They don't care about diversity ideas. For example, me being a black man and me not thinking in a similar way of maybe the most black people do. I don't let my race define me. I just let logic and what makes sense and information and facts guide me. I don't let emotion guide me. And I think that's something they're going to talk about. But either way, I feel like they have good, genuine conversations. And that's why I want to react to this. So let's get into it.
Most regular people are very frustrated and confused by like someone like that who's working for the White House. Like, how did that person get in there? Did that person get in there just because they dress like that? Because I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they did.
Right.
I think that's how goofy they are. Did you see the White House press secretary lady the other day? She was touting all the different like minorities and all the different people of all the different women. How many women work for the White House now? A record number of people in the LGBTQ community.
Listen, I can only speak for me, but I don't care about the diversity you have in your company and especially in government. In government, I just care about who is the best people for the job, who knows the best, who is the least corrupt, who isn't going to bullshit, and who is going to be honest with the American people. You could be white, you could be black, you could be gay, you could be straight. I really don't give a damn. I just want you to be honest. So the press secretary touting about your diversity quotas and having the first female this or the first LGBTQ XYZ this that, and the other, I don't care. That's not going to help me and my family. That's not going to help me with my taxes. That's not going to help with the infrastructure. That's not going to help Ohio, East Palestine. That's not going to help all these other people with the train developments, all this other stuff they got to deal with. I don't care about your diversity. I care about your input, your competence. Actually contribute something to society besides just what your identity is. Your identity doesn't help anybody. It's just so that you put on top of yourself as some type of, I don't know, shield to prevent yourself from being criticized. And I don't care what you identify as or what you feel you should be protected from. I'm still gonna come at you if you say nonsense. And that's just the way I go about things.
Community work in the White House, like all these things that, okay, how they doing?
Yeah.
How's this working?
Right.
This doesn't seem like it's working that well. Like we don't care. Like that's not what most people care about. And if you're lesbian and you're great at your job, awesome. If you're gay and you're great at your job, awesome. But that shouldn't be all we're hearing about.
Right.
Shouldn't be all we're hearing about is your identity, the identity politics thing. Like as if somehow or another doing that is great for everybody. Like, do you think about that when you look for anything good? Do you think about like, well, I hope the staffing there is very diverse. Like no, you hope whoever the fuck is there is the best at whatever the fuck they do. That's
When I play a video game, I don't care about how diverse the team who made the game is. I just care about how good the gameplay, the story, and the graphics are. That's all I care about. I really couldn't give a shit about your skin color or orientation.
that's what you're thinking about.
Right. Is that what they would want their doctor to walk in looking like?
Exactly. I saw there was an internet meme about that. About like what do you say when your house is on fire? Are you hoping the firefighting team is diverse that are coming to save you? There's been a few of these, but they're like, yeah, like that's not what you want. You want diversity because you want people to all have an opportunity to do things. You want it, but you don't want to force it. Like you can't put people in a position that shouldn't be in the position just because of the color of their skin or where they were born. That's crazy. And if there's like a real problem with people of one group or another group not getting the opportunities, then we should address that because that's the real problem. Everybody's at each other's throats for the wrong things. When the real things are you have these massive communities of disenfranchised people like Youngstown, like where you grew up, like Detroit, like Baltimore. There's places like that all over the country. And we just sent how many billions of dollars to Ukraine? Did we always have that
Facts.
money laying around?
It's crazy.
It's crazy as hell. And I'm glad he pointed that out. In my opinion, I feel like the people in power divide us, and by us, I mean the average American person, against each other so they can stay being in power and keep getting money under the table from corporations and powerful people who don't give a fuck about us. That's just how I feel. Of course, I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but when you look at the facts and the records and the insider trading within Congress, it's hard not to feel like it's not just a conspiracy theory. It's just a straight up oligarchy in plain sight with the media covering it up because they get money too. And I feel like whether it's Compton or Detroit or Chicago or Youngstown, Ohio, like Joe Rogan said, people from all around the world from different skin colors or different backgrounds, they grow up in poverty. And instead of putting money to alleviate that poverty through programs and education and training and exposing them to different ideas and experiences and careers, instead of, free money and reparations and stuff like that, instead of doing stuff like that, we constantly fueling war in our country or other countries. We could take a percentage of that money and give it back to the American people, and all the revenue and all the skills and strength that our country would have from a stronger infrastructure and a more educated populace would do a lot more for our country compared to just putting more money into war and the military industrial complex, in my opinion.
Okay, but whether or not you agree that we should support Ukraine or not, I don't understand it. It scares the shit out of me. But if you had all that money laying around, you know how many things you could have fixed? Like, the real problem is people not getting the same situation to grow up in, not getting a situation that's not filled with violence and drugs and gangs and chaos and shit. But no one's trying to fix that. Like, if you want to fix the way people think about each other, if everybody had like a decent chance, pretty much everybody had a decent chance, like the whole country, you'd have way less problems. You got places where people are fucked from the jump, and no one's doing anything to stop that. No one's doing anything to try to help. That's the real problem in this country. It's not like most people don't give a fuck who you are. They just like you to be good at what you do, and they like you to be fun to be around.
Exactly. I think us as human beings, for the most part, have the same issues. We have the same desires. We have the same fears. If you're black, white, or Spanish, Asian, I don't give a fuck what you are. And you want to have a peaceful life. You want to have a family for the most part. You want to protect them and have a nice, peaceful, prosperous life as best you can. I think at the most part, when you break each other down, we're very similar. We just let little bullshit here and there pull each other apart, and they get exasperated by our ego, our emotions, and the media.
We all find each other's groove. Like, oh, this is Mike. He's fucking weirdo, but he's cool about this. And we all find our groove with each other. You know, how many comics do we know that are gay? Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
How many comics do we know that are of every ethnicity, every race? When you're hanging around with comics, it's just who's funny.
Right.
It's just who's good, who's cool to hang with. Nobody gives a fuck about that. That should be the whole world. That should be the whole world. I don't know if you get there by forcing people to get hired because they're a certain race or a certain gender or certain anything.
I mean,
I think you got to get it to the point where all these people have the same sort of crack at it. So then it just becomes a meritocracy, like a real meritocracy. Because that's the argument against it. It's like it's not a meritocracy if people experience racism or sexism, or if people grow up, disenfranchised and they grow up in bad areas. Like, they deserve like a little bit of an extra help, and maybe they should be hired first. This is the way that's the thought process behind it. But boy, I think that encourages like someone who's not as good to succeed.
Right.
And
it's like what Harvard did, where they dropping the test scores to let minorities and other people in similar groups get in. I don't think you should lower the standards to let people get in. I think you should just go into the communities and provide resources through education and training to improve their outcomes, and they could get it through their own merit and their own skill and effort, and they could feel fulfilled instead of just getting a handout.
I don't think that's good for anybody. I
Right.
think the best people should succeed. We just have to figure out like how to make that fair. But the best people should succeed in everything. That's the way we get better at stuff. That's it.
The NFL, I'm sure you probably know about this, but they have a very, very interesting thing that they're doing where you literally get better, what is it, draft picks or something based on how many black coaches you have instead of, so you can literally reconstruct your team. You can build it stronger. Is it draft picks or
And
is
so
it?
you get more draft.
I'm pretty sure it's draft picks. I only know it's because I love football, but I'm not like a freaking draft guru. With my understanding, before you had like the Rooney Rule, and that came from the Steelers. I think I don't want to say Wayne Rooney, but one of the former Steelers owners who would, like hire or at least interview black coaches and stuff, and that thing became like a league-wide rule. But I guess in the past few years, they're really pushing this equality shit to the point where we'll give you free shit if you hire black coaches.
A bigger
picks.
salary cap or something? It's wild.
The salary cap is wild because if there wasn't a salary cap, the Saudis would just come in, and then we go. We have an idea.
Yeah.
Everybody, $1 billion.
Yeah.
And just buy up. Like I think those guys have more money than we could possibly comprehend.
They're doing it with golf. That
Yeah, that
LIV.
it seems to be working.
Yep.
Is it? No, Jamie. Shaky.
Well,
Tell me, Jamie.
What's the definition of working? I guess would be.
Are they having successful events?
They're just
that's
starting.
the definition of a successful event.
Oh, well, now we're cutting hairs. I don't know. I don't know golf, so you tell me. Like, what's a successful event?
They just had their first event of the year, and the response online is people aren't that into watching it. It was on the CW, I think, in the United States, so it's a little tough to find that in the first place.
CW.
Like, I don't get it.
Interesting.
It's
That woke ass, bullshit ass TV network, of course it flopped.
aired a way different way than they aired PGA golf. It's aired to everybody. You see all the shots at the same time, kind of. Everyone's playing.
Bro, I've been watching Joe Rogan for years, and I don't remember Jamie looking like this. I've seen Jamie before, but he looks way different than I remember.
At once, which is way different,
Yeah.
especially if you watch the Full Swing show that just started on Netflix.
Interesting.
They're explaining golf to people who don't really know it that well.
Huh.
There is a lot of money in there, though. That's for sure. Wow. So that's successful for those people.
That's interesting. So professional pool is encountering a little bit of a renaissance. It's very interesting. There's few companies that are putting on these events, like Predators putting on these events, and Matchroom Pool, and they have these big, and they're streaming them live online, and it's becoming successful again. Like pool.
Yeah, I think that's in the video. It's only a few seconds left. But as I was saying, I think humans around the world are pretty similar. We all want the same things, and for the most part, we can get along. But of course, we have certain stuff that pulls us apart. But I really feel like the media and the government exasperated so they can use it for their benefit. But that's just me. It's your boy Logos, and I'll see y'all next time.